Another thing that the book talks about is command line debugging. So Node has a built-in debugger, but it's a little bit different than the book talks about because the debugger that the book talks about has been deprecated. So if you, for example, say node debug standardio.js, which is what the book says, you get a deprecation warning, node debug is deprecated. Please use node inspect instead. But unfortunately, there's a bug in Windows where if you say node inspect, you basically get a port problem. So it's waiting for this port to be free before the debugger grabs it. And unfortunately, the port isn't actually in use. You just get this error anyhow. So there's a solution for that, which is to specify --port equals 0, which means that the command is randomly going to grab an available port and use that. So that gets us around this supposedly port being blocked problem. So when I do that, I'm dropped into a debugger, and it starts with a breakpoint on the first line of the code. And I can step through the code one line at a time by using the S command. So now you'll see that I've actually stepped into console.log, and here's the log method of console, and it's going to do that, and I can step into this, or I can type O to step out. And now it stepped out of that line. It printed normal output to standard output. And then I stepped out of that function call and onto the next line, which is this for loop. Sometimes you don't want to step in, though. You actually just want to execute the line and go to the next line. We'll see how to do that in a second. So I'm going to go step, and you see the less than sign is now highlighted to show me where I am, and step, and now I'm on the next line, but I don't want to step into console.log this time. What I want to do is execute the next line. So it goes ahead and it prints got I value 0, and then step to the next line, which is this if. And there are some other commands you can use as well. So easiest way to see all the commands is type help from the command line, and let me make this a little bigger. So the main ones at the top are R to restart the project or the application, kill to kill it, C to resume execution, and it will run up until the next breakpoint if you have one set, or to the end of the program if you don't have a breakpoint set. N for next, S for step into a function call, and O to step out of a function call. There's BT to show the current backtrace, like so. So this shows me basically a bunch of node functions that ultimately result in me being on line 4 of standardio.js. So if I had additional function calls in here, it would show me additional stack frames at the top, showing me how I got to where I am now. This list command is useful, but if you just type list, it's actually showing me the value of the variable list, which is the function list. Because this is like a console input line, and I can type any arbitrary expression, and it will show me the value that this produces, just like in the JavaScript console in Chrome or anywhere else. So what I really want to do is call the list function in the debugger, and that will list the current code along with my position in the code. So that's list, and then you can set a breakpoint. That's also a function call. So this SB or set breakpoint, let's say I want to put a breakpoint right here on line 5 so that it's going to run through this loop until I is equal to 567. then it's going to get to line 5, but before it continues, I want to hit a breakpoint. So I'm going to set breakpoint line 5, and then I'm going to continue. And see, it runs up to I equal 567, and then it stops at this breakpoint, and I can next, and then I get the console.error. Oops, I got error number 567. And then I can continue from there, or I can step or whatever. And list. And then if I want to clear the breakpoint, I can type CB for clear breakpoint. And then I give it the name of the file where the breakpoint is set. So this is standardIO.js. And then the line number in the file where I have the breakpoint, which is line 5, and that will clear the breakpoint. So if I list now, the breakpoint that was on line 5 is gone. You can also list all the breakpoints. I don't have any, so let's go ahead and put a breakpoint on line 7. Set breakpoint line 7, and then we'll look at our breakpoints. So showing me breakpoint number 0 is in standardIO.js on line 8. So to clear that breakpoint, standardIO.js line 8. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. And it runs till the end. It says waiting for debugger to disconnect. And now if I type list, I don't get anything because I'm not actually in a running program anymore. I can type R to rerun it, and that will put me in the beginning, and continue will continue until the end again. Once again, I can set breakpoints and so on. You can also watch variables, so that's a useful thing to do. So I'm going to run the thing again and list, and I want to set a breakpoint on I, so, or I'm sorry, I want to watch I. So I type watch and then an expression whose value I want to watch as a string. So this could be a condition like I greater than or equal to 567, or some other expression that produces a value, or just the variable I if I just want to see the variable I. And now if I go next, you'll see at the top I have this watch value here, and I isn't defined yet, so I get a little error message when it tries to show it. But if I step to the next line, now I is 0, and if I keep stepping through, I is 1, I is 2, I is 3. If I put a breakpoint on line 5 and continue, I'm stopped at the breakpoint, and I can also see the value of I, which is 567. And I can unwatch that if I'm done. And if I list, now I don't get the breakpoint anymore. So, and you can see all the watchers. I don't have any right now. If I go ahead and watch I again and type watchers, it will show me the one breakpoint I have, or the one watched variable I have right now. And you can execute any arbitrary expression. You can list the scripts that are currently loaded and running if you have multiple files loaded. Right now I just have one. And you can also do CPU profiling the same way as we looked at with time start and, or time and time end. So that's all well and good. Most of these commands are easier to execute just from the JavaScript debugger. So in WebStorm. So just put a breakpoint there by clicking on the line and then run it under the debugger. Actually, let me, there, now I have it. So I'm going to run it under the debugger. And it runs up to the breakpoint. And I have everything that I could look at in the debugger from the console. I have a stack backtrace. I have variable values that I can look at. I can even watch expressions if I want. I can make a new watch. And if I step through the code, I can continue, or I can run it under the debugger again to the breakpoint, and I can step over just like I did from the console. I can continue up to the breakpoint. Actually, that exited because I'd already been past the breakpoint. So let me try that one more time. Right. So I can set breakpoints. I can step through the code. I can step into function calls, step out of function calls, and continue. I can also stop the program. So pretty much everything that you want to do in the debugger, you can do with an interactive debugger in WebStorm, but you can also do it from the command line. And there's one thing that you can do with the command line debugger that's sort of hard to do with WebStorm, which is I can actually debug this process remotely. So when I started it up, it actually opened the debugger, opened a socket, and it's waiting for connections. So if I go ahead and I make a new terminal, and this could be on a different machine on the internet, I can say node inspect, and then I give it an IP address, which in this case is just 127.0.0.1 for localhost, and then the port number, which is all the way up here. So 49835. Unless I restarted it, which I may have actually done. So I might have to restart it, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. Yeah, so that wasn't actually the right port anymore, because this debugging session I exited and I started a new one. So let me go ahead and I'm going to Control C to stop that. And I'm going to Control C to exit this. So I can exit either by typing Control C twice or by typing Control D for end of file. So if I type Control C once, twice, it says press Control C again after the first one, or Control D, or type .exit. And then I'm going to run it again, exactly the same command, but this time I know the port is 50281. So I'm going to supply that here on my other machine, 50281. And now I'm connected to the same debugger. So I can execute all the same commands and they work exactly the same as before. Now, I can also do that from Chrome. So let me go ahead and open a Chrome window. And I'm going to go Chrome://inspect. And then open, actually, I'm going to discover network targets. I'm going to configure, I can type in the port number for that running debugger, which was 50281. And say done. And it should find the remote target. Took a while, but here it is. So standardIO.js being debugged. And I'm going to go ahead and inspect. And I get a debugger that looks just like the Chrome debugger. So I have sources, console, profiler, and so on. I can go ahead and step, 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 step. Look at the console. It duplicates all the console output. And same thing here. I can look at all the local variables. I can set breakpoints, clear breakpoints, and so on. So let's go ahead and run till the end of the program. I'm stopped at the end of the program, and I can look at all of my variables, my globals, and so on. And this can all happen remotely on a remote machine. So if you have a web server running Node somewhere, and you want to attach to a running process on that web server and debug it remotely, you can certainly do that.